Mama, and today I am going to be doing my full review for My Father's World first grade. This is called Learning God's Story. It's the first grade full curriculum. Now I did not get the deluxe package, which included music and art. I just got the basic package, which included the phonics, reading, Bible and history, math and science, and also timeline. So I can't speak for the full curriculum with the music and the art, but I can speak about everything else that's included in the curriculum. So I'm going to get started by showing you guys, this is the teacher's manual. My Father's World first grade is a 34-week curriculum. Inside you will find the lesson overview, which tells you what you are going to be teaching each week for Bible history, reading, math, and science. From a lot of the homeschool moms that I have talked to, the first grade curriculum is not a favorite. If you know me, you know that we've been using My Father's World since the beginning. We did kindergarten, and now we just finished first grade. At the end of kindergarten, a child is usually not reading fluently. They should be able to read consonant, vowel, consonant words, but they're probably not going to be reading fluently. First grade is when all of the hard work of phonics and learning how to read is taught. So it can be challenging to teach a child how to read, and I know that firsthand now. My son just finished a couple weeks ago, and he is reading so much better now than he was when we started. I can see such a tremendous difference in everything and how much he's learned, and it makes me happy that this curriculum has taught him how to read, and he's trying, and he's just really enjoying it when it's something he wants to read anyway. So when you first start the first grade curriculum, you're going to be doing review mostly, and I think that's for what, the first 3 weeks or so. You're doing straight review, learning how to write those letters, making sure the child knows how to write those letters, and knows what the sounds are and all of that. And then I guess I'm starting with the phonics. You get into learning all the different sounds, and it starts moving pretty quickly. My Father's World first grade comes with a reading chart, and I don't have it here with me, but you use the reading chart to help your child learn sounds. The different, you know, how O can sound like ah, or it can have the long O sound, and it gets really confusing, but the teacher's manual tells you exactly what to say and walks you through step by step how to teach the different ways to say those sounds, and how they apply to words that we use. So the curriculum comes with a workbook, and this is the Phonics Workbook. And as I was saying, you start out just by going over the letters that your child learned in first grade. So you're going back over those letters and you're learning those sounds. And then you start learning how to mark the vowels. So they use a red pencil, and they go through and they mark the vowels. This is how you mark the short A sound. And they go through and they're doing all of the short vowel sounds. And then by, let's see, week 5, they're learning new blends. Like here's the sh blend, and they're marking sh. And you are teaching them all of these words. They're learning how to read these words, and you're supposed to every day for 15 minutes at the end of the day go back, have your child go through and read these words again for 15 minutes as practice. Now, my son did dread that, and honestly, we did not do it every day like we were supposed to. And I do think that if I had just marched through and done that, then he would have probably been better off with his reading skills. But we did not do the review every day. Fridays, I'll sort of show you how 1 week looks. Okay. So you're doing work for the first 4 days of the week, and then the last day of the week, or whichever day you want it to be. If you have co-op, it can be on the co-op day. You're doing your science and your nature study. And you're also going to be doing a reading review game. So that helps reinforce everything that you have just taught that previous week. If your child is actually going to start reading in their Bible reader around week 10 or week 11, and each day it starts out really slow. They'll read like 1 page, and then the next page, maybe 1 or 2 pages, and eventually it gets to where they're reading the full story when they sit down and they do their reading for the day. Now, the Bible reader and what you're teaching for Bible history and the timeline all correlate. So what you will do is you will read a Bible story from your teacher's manual, and then you will have your child narrate that story back to you, and then they will read from their Bible reader. And usually, not always, but usually there's a timeline piece that corresponds that you will put up on your timeline. And it wasn't my son's favorite part of the curriculum. He wasn't really that into the Bible stories. My daughter, who is about 2 years younger than him, really loved it. Of course, she's not reading from the Bible reader. He did not like to read from the Bible reader, I'll just be honest. He wasn't crazy about it. It can get kind of a little bit hard for them, especially since we weren't doing the review every day like we should have been. But, I sat down with him and we kept charging through, and eventually he picked up on those words and it all started to click by the end of the year. So I think he did pretty good, even though he wasn't really crazy about the Bible reader. Now, to go along with the Bible reader is also the Bible notebook. And I can't remember exactly which week this starts. I think it's around week 20 or so, possibly, when the Bible notebook starts. But first, they're just illustrating what is written, and then they start out by writing the title in their from their Bible reader. So I guess maybe it starts at the same time the Bible reader does. So they write the title of the story that they've read in their Bible reader, and then they illustrate it. This is another thing that my son wasn't crazy about doing. So they write just the title for a while, and then they start writing sentences. So what they're going to do is they will remember what they read in the story, and then they will summarize with a couple of sentences. Like, first you just get them to write 1 sentence, and then as you move along you have them write longer summaries. And of course I would help him. We would sit down together and I would sort of help him along, and at first I would write down what he'd tell me to write down, so then he would just copy it. I would actually have him try to write it himself. So that's a good overview of how the workbook, the Bible reader, and the Bible notebook, and then of course the Bible stories that you're reading from the teacher's manual all work together. Now, the Bible reader goes all the way through the New Testament, while the stories that you're reading to your child only go through the Old Testament. So we read all the way through the Old Testament, and then we only did a few stories in the New Testament. The New Testament stories in the Bible reader are pretty difficult to read. So since he wasn't enjoying it that much, that's when I stopped the Bible reader, and I've been having him read other books that he likes a little bit better. And then in 2nd grade, I'm going to come back, and when he does his read aloud time to me, I'm going to have him finish up the Bible reader. Okay, so now next I'm going to talk about math. My Father's World 1st grade math is based on more of a hands-on approach. It does come with the complete book of math, which you do some of the workbook pages from here, definitely not all. I mean, we've got a lot left. But they want you to do the hands-on stuff a lot more than they do the workbook pages. So every day you do the number of the day. There's a 100 chart that you fill in, you know, you write the number each day, and you're learning how to count by 2s and count by 5s, and you do the calendar, and they do beans, where you put a bean in the cup each day, and then when you get to 10 beans, you're supposed to glue them onto a craft stick. So that's your 10 stick, and that helps teach place value. And there is a number of the day sheet that they're supposed to fill in. So they write the number of the day 4 times, and then they tell you how many beans and craft sticks it would take to make the number of the day. And they do addition and subtraction problems for the number of the day, as well as the expanded form for the number of the day, which would be like if the number's 22, then the expanded form would be 20 plus 2 equals 22. Besides the hands-on activities, which are listed in the teacher's manual, we also have the complete book of math, which my son really did enjoy the complete book of math. We did not do every worksheet in here, not by any means, but it's nice and colorful, and he just had a good time with it with the worksheets that we did do. Now I'm going to read over the 1st grade math goals really quickly. They are listed in the appendix of the teacher's manual, just so you would know what is being taught for 1st grade math. So for numbers, count, read, and write numbers to 100, recognize smaller or larger numbers to 100, understand greater than, less than symbols, count by 2s, 5s, and 10s, or at least by 10s, count backwards from 20 to 0, understand ordinal numbers 1st to 10th. They're also going to be doing addition and subtraction. They're going to understand addition to 18, know addition facts to 18, understand subtraction to 18, add 3 numbers with up to 18 as an answer, recognize that 3 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 3, or otherwise the commutative property. Understand addition and subtraction written horizontally and vertically. Add or subtract 2-digit numbers without regrouping. Place value. Understand place value of 2-digit numbers. Read, write, and understand expanded notation, which is what I was talking about, like 57 is 50 plus 7. They are also going to learn about money and time, be familiar with the calendar, build and continue number patterns, understand sorting and classifying, solve simple word problems, understand beginning geometry, understand measurement, length, volume, weight, create and read charts, graphs, and tallies, understand simple fractions, tell time for the hour and half hour, and understand money, the value of a penny, a nickel, a dime, and a quarter. Begin to count money. Okay, like I said, there's lots of hands-on activities. 2 of the more popular activities that are mentioned frequently in the teacher's manual is the restaurant and store, and you're given little receipts that you can use to practice addition and subtraction with money as well. We didn't do that every time it was listed, just because it was a lot to pull together to orchestrate that whole thing, and with me having so many little ones, it was just kind of difficult to do all of that, so we didn't do it as often as it was mentioned. But I do think that the math for 1st grade is more than sufficient. So in the back of the teacher's manual is an appendix with the handwriting guide, and something that I didn't mention is every week you will be learning a proverb that you will be learning with your child to to help them memorize that proverb, and they will be doing copy work of that proverb. So every week they're going to copy that proverb down, and it makes a really nice keepsake that I have kept. This is my son's finished portfolio of the student sheets that we did. So let's see. This is what a copy work proverb page looks like. And you just try to get them to do their very best handwriting on the page. So, let's see what's next on my list to talk about. Oh, the appendix is what I was just talking about. Okay, so there is a handwriting guide if you still need that. There is, you will see all of the memory verses that you're going to be learning, and they're all proverbs. You have suggestions for the reading games to help practice reading words, the first grade math goals, and then teaching instructions for reference. Tells you how to do the proverbs, how to do the Bible notebook. If you need help with the phonics lessons, or if your child is already past that, there's so many suggestions in here. I really think this could work for anybody who is teaching their child first grade. Okay. And also there is a book list. It's a huge book list, and it corresponds to the math and science. So there will be books in here that will go with the science that you're studying that week, or that will go with the math that you're studying that week. And you can find those at your library, usually, if you have a pretty good library. Our library here on base did not have hardly any of these books. So we ended up going to a different library to get our library books. I also forgot to mention, for most of the year, not towards the end, but for the most part, probably 3/4 of the way through the year, you will be using the Big Book of 5-Minute Devotions, and I've talked about this book. My kids absolutely loved it. We would start our day with a devotion out of this book, and it was so much fun. We loved it. The science, real quick, I will talk to you about. So here are your 3 science books. Science with plants, science with water, and then things outdoors. When you're doing things outdoors, on Monday or the first day of your week, you will read the lesson, and it's 2 pages is 1 lesson. So you'll read the lesson and talk about it, and get your child to narrate back what you've read. And then on Friday, or exploration day, you'll go over the lesson again, and you'll either do an experiment, or have your child do a drawing from the book, or whatever you want to do for the science. I mean, the science is not in depth in first grade, but it is, I think it's definitely sufficient. The science with water and the science with plants, you do an experiment every Friday. And sometimes we didn't get around to doing the experiments, and sometimes we did. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of these are easy to do with things that you already have on hand. So, the teacher's manual does tell you at the beginning of the week everything that you need to have on hand to do everything that week. Okay. I think I covered it all. Definitely not as fun as kindergarten, but I do think it was sufficient. And if I had really done a better job with that reading review and the practice games, I think my son's reading would be even better than what it is. It is definitely better, even without me really pushing those 2 things. But I think if you follow the curriculum exactly, you will be really impressed with where your child ends up. So I'm going to show you our timeline really quickly, and then that'll be it for my review. I will have a blog post that's probably going to go a little bit more in detail, not have so many of my scattered thoughts in it. Just going over this review and telling you what I thought about it and everything. And I will leave that link below if you want to check out the blog post. And also, I would love it if you would like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel. I'm planning to put out more homeschooling videos because I love to talk about homeschooling, and hopefully I can start making some more homemaking videos as well, because I blog a lot about living simply and homemaking and recipes, and I would like to start making some videos like that too. So hang on one second, I'm going to show you guys the timeline. Okay, so here is the timeline on our wall, and I got this, the printout for the pages. I found it in the My Father's World First Grade Facebook group. So I just printed it off, and then all of the timeline pieces are from the student sheets that come with the curriculum. So we start here at the beginning, and the Hebrew fell off. That talks about the beginning. But anyway, here's all of our little timeline pieces, and really it takes up this entire wall, and it wasn't really long enough. I've got everything kind of squished on there and probably not 100% accurate, but yeah, there's a lot on there. So there we have the birth of Jesus. And then down there at the very end, new heaven and earth. And also that picture right there is supposed to be our entire family that my son drew. So this is what our timeline looks like. And hopefully, I don't know if we're going to be able to, but hopefully we can squeeze our adventures timeline pieces on here. We will see how that works out. Alright guys, that is the end of my Father's World First Grade review. Like I said, check out the blog post below if you want more info, and we'll see you next time.